Today we're going to do Unit 4 review, and these are your student notes. So you actually have a handout on the table. Make sure you grab it. And this is all about the Unit 4 review for your Unit 4 test. So we're going to go over 4 different types of questions that you might see, and I know they're on your review at least, so we can kind of go over that. So let's go over them. So first one, this is on your paper. Which of the below tables matches 2x minus 3y equals 12? Okay, and we got some stuff going on here. Okay, well, in order to match a table, the easiest way is to put it in the calculator. But in order to put it in the calculator, you need to solve for y. So let's go ahead and solve for y real quick. I'm going to kind of do it a little small. So you minus 2x on both sides, right? This goes away. You're left with negative 3y equals. We need to put these things side by side because they're different. You could put the 12 first, that's fine. And then you divide by negative 3. This is why solving for y is so important if you're doing it accurately, because if you make one little mistake, then this whole thing is shot. Okay? Negative 2 divided by negative 3, I'll just let you know is going to be a decimal, and then it'll turn into 2/3 x, because a negative and a negative is a positive. And then 12 divided by negative 3 is going to be minus 4. Okay? So 2/3 x minus 4. Alright, so we need to figure out which one of these matches. Okay, so here's how we're going to start to do that. Is we're going to go to y equals, and we're going to type that in. 2/3 x minus 4. So we got it right there. Okay, and we're going to go to second graph. Now we're going to come across a little problem real quick. And that is that I have fractions here, but I have decimals here. And I'm going to explain how we're going to do that in a second. But let's just see if everything else matches. This says negative 3, 7. This says negative 3, negative 6. So automatically this one's wrong. Okay? We're going to look at the easy points first to see if they match, and then we can look at the fractions. Okay? This says negative 3, negative 6, and negative 3, negative 6, and that does match, so we're good. Yet again, you need to do this on your calculator because it's going to be kind of hard to see mine. It gets blurry. Alright, this says negative 1 in a fraction, so we're going to look at that in a second. This says 0, negative 4, and this does as well. Let's make sure it says 0, negative 4. 0, negative 4. Yeah, it does. Little sidebar. Remember, a y-intercept is when x is 0, which is why that says minus 4, because that's your y-intercept right there. And then 2, and then we see a fraction. Okay, so here's how we're going to tell which one of these is correct, because that's fractions and this is decimals. This says negative 1, and on your calculator, if you can see it, I don't know if you can, it says negative 4.666, and it's going to repeat to 7. So next to this, I'm going to put negative 4.6. Okay, and over here, negative 4.6. Alright, and this says 2, so I'm going to go down to 2, and it says negative 2.6. So I'm going to put negative 2.6. And what we're going to do is we're just going to divide those fractions and see if it matches. Okay, so I'm going to get out of my that stuff. Okay, blank screen. I'm going to do negative 14 divided by 3 and see if it gives me that. Does that say negative 4.66 and it just keeps going? Yeah, it looks good. And then we'll do negative 8 divided by 3 and see if it gives us negative 2.66666. Yeah, okay, so those look like they match. Let's just double check the other side. Negative 13 divided by 3. It should give us negative 4.66. And it doesn't. It gives us 4.333. So this one's wrong. And then this one would be correct. So on your test, if you have fractions, all you have to do is just write the little decimal beside it, divide them, and then see if it matches. Okay? So that's one question. Let's go to another one. This one's a little easier, and we've seen it before. Given y equals 2x minus 12, what is the domain? I'm going to underline the word domain and write x. When the range, I'm going to underline that, put a y, is negative 2. Okay, so what is x when y is negative 2? So I have to replace the negative 2 where the y is. So you're going to put negative 2 equals 2x minus 12. The biggest mistake kids are going to make is they're going to put that negative 2 where the x is. But you have to read the question very carefully. So I'm going to draw my line. I'm x, 2 is my best friend. I need to get rid of the 12. The opposite of subtracting 12 is adding 12. That goes away. Negative 2 plus 12. And your calculator is 10. And then you divide by 2, right? X equals 10 divided by 2 is 5. And that's it. Okay? This should be a very, very, very easy question. You just got to remember, you have to be careful about where it's asking you to put the number. If it's going to put in the Y or going to put in the X. Be very careful. That's why I always underline the words domain and range and then write the letter underneath it. Oh. Is this one next? Okay. Hang on real quick. Let me make sure on your paper that's the right one. Sorry. Yeah, it is in the right order. Okay. So this is a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to kind of go through this real quick. And then we have some graphs here. Okay? So hopefully this looks like something familiar. We're going to talk about this again. Mr. Wilson asked his class to sketch a graph that would represent the following activity. We start 3 meters away. Okay? So we have to double check. And we've gone over this problem before, but I want to make sure we understand. This is at 1, 2, 3. So that's okay. 1, 2, 3. That matches. And 1, 2, 3. That matches. Okay? And he slowly walks away for 8 seconds. So we can start here, and this is seconds, so I'm going to count to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8 right here. And that is not where that line, the line doesn't go to that point, right? So this one looks wrong. Let's look here. And we're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8. And that line does end right there. So that looks pretty good. Let's see this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that's right there. And that does not match. So automatically I can see this one's right. But let's go through the rest of it. He stands still for 3 seconds. Remember, if you're stopped, it's a flat line. We talked about that, right? It's a flat line if you're stopped. Or if you're at a constant speed, like you're driving 50 miles an hour consistently, that would be a flat line as well. So he stopped for 3, and then he walks quickly toward me for 4 seconds. And he goes back to where he's supposed to be. Remember, if it's flatter, it's going to be slower, and if it's steeper, it's going to be faster. So if they're like running, it'll be kind of steep. If they're walking, it'll be kind of slow. So just some kind of common tips about those kind of questions. And I know those aren't really necessarily easy, but it's better if you have multiple choice options you can kind of eliminate. Okay. This one hopefully is really simple, but we've had a lot of questions with it in the past. Write an equation for the below situation. Redbox rents movies for $1 a day. Write an equation for T, the total it costs given D days. Okay? So the total is, how much are they? It's $1 every day, right? So 1 day is $1, 2 days $2, 3 days, right? Just go with that. So how you write that is 1D, side by side. Or if you wanted to, it might be just T equals D. Because if there is no number, the number is 1. For some reason, what a lot of y'all like to do is do this. Like you want to add it. Okay? But no, you're wanting to do side by side is multiplied. Because if this were true, then for 1 day, 1 plus 1 would be 2. And that would be wrong. Okay? So, make sure it looks something like this. The slope here would be 1. The y-intercept would be 0. You're going to have a couple of these on your assignment where you're just writing equations, which I think you're pretty good at. But actually, it's the more basic ones like this that you kind of mess up on. So, there you go. Okay? Alright, if you have questions, let me know. If not, get to work.